because how you feel is going to inform your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to dictate your behaviors, and your behaviors are going to dictate your results. So people talk about thoughts, actions, behaviors, results. Welcome to the Be Brand podcast. I am so excited to have you here. We are going to be talking about mindset, energetics of business, and what it truly actually means for you, because I think there is such a talk, right, on the entrepreneurial world around mindset. And I kind of want to share not only my point of view, but also where can you start? How do you actually get better at all of the things? Because I think that the whole mindset work is just so superficial. I really want to talk about why this work is so important, depending on where you're at in your journey. If you heard my story before, you know that when I first started my business, I came from a job where I felt completely confident. I was making a ton of money. And then once I came into entrepreneurship, I didn't even know what hit me. And I hear this story over and over and over. And one of the reasons for this is, number one, is the change of identity, right? From maybe what you did before, and you had maybe a lot of ego around your job, like I did. If you were really, really good, maybe you are in a job still where you are praised and you make a lot of money, and then you come into your side hustle or your business that you're trying to build, and everything is hard, everything is new, everything is different, and you are presented with literally challenge after challenge after challenge. When you hear people talk about mindset is everything, I don't agree. Number one, I think that mindset is the first step. Like when you first encounter yourself going through all of this and you have all these challenges, you reframing your mindset and how you think about things. So not what you think about things, but how you think about these things, and really looking at yourself and taking accountability and self-awareness and really being, okay, what is truly happening, right? Like this is where growth mindset and fixed mindset come in. I believe that we talked about this in other episode, I'm not sure. But like growth mindset is like when you first start encountering all these challenges, really truly believing that there is no failure. And I know a lot of these things sound so cliche, but I still come to meet women that are not new our business, but they feel so bad about themselves. They have very negative self-talk. It's very easy for them to feel frazzled and overwhelmed. And overwhelmed is going to be for a whole new episode that I want to do with Lexi, who is our mindset coach inside of the Be Brand Academy, because we both share the view that overwhelm is a little bit of like choosing to stay there, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to leave it for another episode. But mindset is kind of like scratching the surface. Mindset, you changing how you think of things and like how you're overcoming these challenges. And at the end, it all comes down to self-awareness, because you cannot reframe and you cannot change what you don't know is there. And I say this with a lot of love because I don't believe that there is anything to fix. Nothing. You are just absolutely perfect, beautiful, capable, and you have the skills to do and achieve everything you want. But there is things and ways of thinking that they're keeping you stuck. And I know this because I have found myself on these almost at every level in my business. Every time I hit a new level, and I always say every level has a new devil, but every time there is a new level, either a new level of audience or a new level of success achieved, and not necessarily means money, but this year, 2023, has been a year where I grew so much. I really established myself as a speaker. I had to put myself out there so much, and I kept getting on my head. There was a few episodes ago, I told you I recorded it 4 times. But this is because at every level, there is a new level, right? With the podcast came more visibility and really the thought leadership that I knew I had. All these ideas that I had for the podcast, now I started getting on my head. Is this going to resonate with people? Is this going to be successful? Is people going to care? Are people going to listen? So I wanted to know that the reason I'm talking about mindset and energetics of business as two different things is because I truly believe that they are two different works that both should have a place in your kind of in like daily rituals or like weekly rituals and stuff like that. What is the difference between mindset and energetics of business? So mindset is how you're thinking about something. So for me, mindset is how I think about it, is how can I reframe it, is at the conscious level, is what I know, what I am aware of, and what I can work on to be more aware of. And some ways of really gaining awareness, one is obviously talking to other people. Like if you have girlfriends, like if you have people that actually truly care, and I'm not talking about people that are outside of business, I would actually recommend not having this conversation with people that do not have their business because nobody will understand you. They will be like this and they have no idea what you're going through, but also because people can show you blind spots with love and they can like share with you, I've been through the same, I have done the same, or, anything that can help you because people are sometimes 2 steps ahead, but 2 steps behind you in different things. So when you start talking about the things, you can start realizing where there is maybe things you never thought of, maybe things that you didn't realize. One of the biggest ones for me when I first started my business, and I'm looking up because I have my core values in my wall. I'm going to do an episode on core values soon, but I have all my core values in my wall. And I always been a super positive person. But when I started my business and I went all in, I remember thinking, I don't know how to do this. I'm not done for this shit, or things that I would think. And this was like random stuff that, challenges that were arising. And a rule that I made for myself, I still on my wall till this day, 5 years later, was that I would always, always ask myself, how can I fill in with a challenge? I would give myself 30 minutes to brainstorm, no matter how stupid, how crazy it looked like, to brainstorm, or how can I resolve X problem. So this would look something like, let's say that you're struggling with social media. How can I get better at social media? And you would brainstorm, I can hire a coach, I can brainstorm with a friend, I can get on a course and talk to an expert, I can Google it, I can start a new account, I don't know, anything that comes to mind, right? Because what you're doing is you're training your brain to truly look for answers, as opposed to saying, oh, I don't know how to do this. Your brain is not going to go look for any answers if you're doing that. That is where growth mindset and fixed mindset come in, right? The difference between growth mindset people and fixed mindset people is they're open to criticism, again, from people that are either doing what you're doing or they're ahead of you and where you want to be. I wouldn't listen to anybody that has no idea about business. But then also you're constantly looking to self-improve yourself, not only on your skills, but on the way you think. So now when it comes to the energetics of business, the biggest difference for me is the energetics is how you feel about things. So your mindset is how you think about something, but the energetics is how you feel about something. And there is so many articles and so much shit that you can actually Google, but I'm going to be putting a ton of articles around this in the future because I'm getting my NLP certification, emotional freedom technique, hypnotherapy certification. And the reason for that is because your feelings usually come from something that is on your subconscious. So we talk about your mindset and what you think, and your energetics, how you feel. Your mindset usually is conscious. Now, about 95% of your actions every single day, they come from subconscious programming. You do the same thing on the same way. You make the decisions in the same way. These are not the same decisions every day, but you make different decisions in the same way every single day from a subconscious programming. Now, about 5% of that is conscious. So if you're doing the mindset work, like the talk, the self-awareness, the pushing through and going with courage, and I do that, I want you to know I do that. I'm extremely self-aware of that. I catch myself on the thoughts. We have an exercise we do inside of the academy. It is like for 7 days, you listen to your thoughts and what are you truly telling yourself so you can start catching them and you can start interrupting the pattern. So there is this conscious and the subconscious there, right? Because there is a saying that says, you are not responsible for the first thought that comes to mind, but you are responsible of how you respond to it. And not to the first one, but for every single thought right after that. Because once you catch it, now you have a choice. And at the beginning, the first thought, you don't have a choice because it's subconscious and it's coming to you. But once you catch it, now you have a choice. And this is where a lot of that subconscious reprogramming comes, right? Like how many times you realize you are like, okay, I don't want to eat Oreos watching TV anymore. Now, you know you don't want to eat Oreos. You know it's not good for you. You have no fucking clue why you can't stop doing it, right? Like the people that smoke or the people, I don't want to get into addictions because it's different, but it's all in the subconscious. So the energetics of business is actually how you feel about things. I remember when I first started my business, and this was still when I was in network marketing, and I always say network marketing was the ultimate armor builder because I got so many fucking no's. Literally, I would sit in my office and I would physically feel like I was falling. I remember like the spiral, and I would spiral down, and it was a physical feeling. I didn't know at the time, and it hasn't happened in a long time. But that work was not just mindset. Mindset was the beginning. Mindset is what made me actually think, okay, so I'm exercising, and I'm bringing this up because I truly believe when I don't exercise, I don't move my body or I don't meditate, and I'm going to share a little bit with you in a minute about that, my energy changes. And this is proven, right? Like people that suffer from depression or stuff like that, they tell them you have to move your body, your nutrition, all of that is true. But even when I was doing all of that, I was still having these feelings of not knowing, feelings like I was falling, right? Like this spiral. That is when I got into really looking, okay, so now I have the self-awareness. Now I'm doing all the affirmations. Now I'm reading all the mindset books. What is happening that nothing is changing? So number one is the thought that things can change overnight. And this is the thing. Things can change super fucking quick, but the change needs to happen at the identity level. And identity level is where you're actually change how you feel, because how you feel is going to inform your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to dictate your behaviors, and your behaviors are going to dictate your results. So people talk about thoughts, actions, behaviors, results. I don't necessarily agree. It's very similar, but this is the thing. Usually you have a feeling, you're going to then have a thought. That thought, it's usually going to be, you're going to justify the feeling. You're going to say, oh, I feel like this because I didn't make any sales. Oh, I feel like this because nobody is saying yes to me, whatever it is. And that is what actually dictates the behavior. Behavior dictates the result, but it starts with the feeling. And the feeling, it starts at the subconscious level. And at the subconscious level is where we want to understand how to get out of the feeling. And this is where I talk so much about stepping into your new identity and the person that you want to be and the person you want to become. So I'm going to kind of share a lot of the techniques and things that I have used. I still use. I'm creating some resources for you that in the next few weeks that are going to be free. They're going to be downloads. But part of this has been meditation, for example. And people are like, I don't have time to meditate. Well, if you don't have 15 minutes to meditate, you probably don't have a life. So when you slow down your thoughts, what you're actually doing is you're actually giving your brain a break from the overload of the world. And your brain actually can process things for itself. So you can actually feel. You can feel who you are. You can feel what's happening to you. So meditation was one of the first ones because I was finding myself super overwhelmed, right? And that's why I know that overwhelm is a choice. So how is it a choice if you are choosing not to meditate when you know something is going to help? And I'm not saying that's the only thing. You're actually choosing. Meditation is one, and there is so many ways for meditation, but my favorite one is anything that will get you on your desired state. So let's talk about the state for a second. When you have these feelings of feeling less, not good enough, maybe you feel like you're not good at sales, nobody's buying from you, and now you're putting this label either on your program or you're telling yourself, I'm not good at this. Number one, you're not allowing yourself to grow and say, okay, what do I need to learn in order to get better at this? That is mindset. But the second one is your state, the way you feel, sadness, doubt, confusion, whatever it is, you can change. Nothing needs to happen in order for you to change your state. Let me give you an example of this. People say, when I make $1 million, I will be happier. When I have X car, I will be happier. I remember when I first left my job, one of the things that I wrote in my journal was, I want to see more sunsets. I want to take more weekend trips. I want to do more camping. I want to spend more time with my son, right? All these things that, well, none of that depending on the money, none of those depending, it was me putting those things in the calendar. There was nothing that was impeding me from doing that. I want to build more community. There was nothing that was impeding me to go and meet other women, right? But if you're acting from a place of, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to do this, I don't know anybody, why would I go network? I don't know anybody. Well, you are responsible for that. Again, going back to meditation, journaling is my absolute favorite. I reframe so many things in journaling. And the most important part of journaling for me is journaling how the things that I desire actually feel. I want you to take a pen and a paper and write this down right now, because most people talk about visualization and they sit there and they just look at themselves doing something or receiving something, but you are not truly engaging all the senses. And that is where the magic happens. So some resources for you to write down are Becoming Supernatural from Joe Dispenza. That book changed my life. I still use it till today. I have my intention and I have my emotions. And if you want, I can do a training on this. But literally, you write an intention and then you're like, how am I going to feel? And you really, truly create this identity around a goal. And for me, this was the first thing that truly changed everything. Because when I started doing identity work, very similar to this intention work, was who do I want to be? Not what do I need to do, but who do I need to be? And I remember thinking, I am the woman that is confident. I am the woman who reaches out to people. I am the woman who enjoys other women's success. Because at the time I was experiencing a lot of internal turmoil around seeing the success of other women because I didn't think I could have it. So I started leaning into that and using that as inspiration. And I started making these women, without them knowing it, my mentors. I am the woman who is confident. I have time to do the things that I love. I close my computer at 3 p.m. I'm focused and organized, right? And I would include in these vision statements, I was in order to do that, I learned how to manage my time. I learned how to manage my tasks. So do you see how I was literally making a movie in my head and I would see it. And one of the things that I just learned in NLP that we apply a lot is you see it from the outside, but then you also see it from your own eyes. And you literally record this vision. You listen to it every single day. Every single day. I have gone as far as to putting all of that in a subliminal recording, which I'm going to be making some. as soon as I get my certification, because I'm not allowed to do them before I do my certification. But I will be doing some of these for you guys to download, which literally were playing in the background the whole time. Now, the whole idea of this is that you can be working on your subconscious mind, the things that you know you need to be working on before they ever happen. And then the other one is, you probably heard this, and this was so hard to me to even grasp, that it was like the highest version of you, right? Who is that? Who is her? So for me, that her has evolved so much in the last 5 years. And at the beginning, I had a very clear understanding because, I was still bartending. And for me, that woman was like the woman that was running her business, the woman that had clients, the woman that showed up, the woman that was consistent, the woman that was making X amount of money. And then I would ask myself, how would she show up? And I would literally step on her shoes. I did so many exercises through the last 5 years on our networking events, on my speaking events, helping you to step into the power of this person. How would it feel? And you have to feel it in your bones. How does it feel to be her? How does it feel to be this woman that is maybe one step ahead of you? A lot of people will talk about your highest self, will tell you, well, if you were making $1 million, what would it feel like? What would it look like? And this is the thing. This is for me. This is exactly what happened. That didn't work for me because I never made $1 million and I didn't know what that looked like or what that looked like for me. I had friends that were making $1 million, but not necessarily my life would look like theirs, right? My husband's lifestyle is different. My family's lifestyle is different. So what you can do is you can go to the next level. If I was making 10K a month, what that would look like? What would my post say? How would I show up online? How would I show up with my clients? How would I invest money? I remember one of my mentors, she was helping me. We were talking about running ads and we were talking about the budget. And I was like scared shitless because it was a big number that we were going to invest. And she was like, if you were already making $500,000 a year, how would you handle this decision? And I was like, oh, no problem. She's like, there you go. Because growth requires completely different decisions from a completely different place. And this is kind of the conundrum, right? Like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like when you're going to invest in a program or when you're going to invest in a coach, you're like, oh, I don't have the money. Well, you don't have the money because you haven't invested in somebody to help you. But if you don't invest in anybody to help you, then you won't have the money. And that kind of it goes, right? And this goes on everything, not just investing in coaching or mentorship. I'm going to recap this for you. Mindset and energy work is not the same. Yes, it always starts with mindset because that is the self-awareness that there is things that need to change and you need to grow, like growth mindset over fixed mindset. Are you truly leaning into the growth mindset and asking yourself questions, journaling about them, asking yourself, how can you challenge? Insert the challenge there. How can you X? Because when you do that, you're actually challenging your brain to truly look for the answers. And then the energetics is your feeling. We talked about meditation. We talked about journaling. I recommended you Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Superhuman. That book is amazing at invoking your desired state, happiness, gratefulness, joy, all these things that we all want, and they don't come with the money. They don't come with the success. Now they come with fulfillment. They come with all the things that you want to create in your life, but you can have the state before you have the success. Before you have the money. It is a choice away. I would look into hypnobreath work. That is an amazing one that I love. My favorite is the Mastery app. And you can go follow a spiritual mixtape. It's my friend Daisy. She is amazing. Her breath works are so amazing. Hypnotherapy, breath work, subliminal audios, and EFT, which I'm going to do a whole episode on that and how it works and why you should be using it, because you can use it to move you immediately into a better state and kind of like treat the symptom that would be like feeling insecure or not confident or overwhelmed. But we can also use EFT and tapping to really truly remove blocks and mindset blocks and like all these shitty feelings that we have and like reframe what we do when it's done the right way. So I hope that this was amazing that you truly understood why you need to bring both into your business. What I love talking about these topics, because if you heard me before talk about SEMA, which is proprietary framework for the Be Brand Academy, which is strategy, identity, marketing, mindset, and accountability. And we truly believe that mindset is where the magic happens, because we don't believe, like, if you're stuck, if you don't want to show up, if you're inconsistent, if you're doubting every word, it all comes back to your mindset and the energetics of your business and not the strategy that you're putting in the world. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. I would love if you can come on Instagram at ati.g.branding and tell me how much are you doing, if you are doing anything, if you enjoy this episode. And if you can tag me, take a photo and tag me and share this episode with a girlfriend that maybe truly needs it. And I hope you have a good day. I'll see you next week.